Hi guys, welcome back to TOEFL with Juva. I scored 30 out of 30 in TOEFL Writing, and in this video I will show you how I did that. I will give you 10 tips for scoring 30. Let's get started. Let's start with tip number 1, use a template. TOEFL Writing has two very different tasks, the integrated writing task and the academic discussion task. In TOEFL integrated writing, you must combine information from a passage that you read and a lecture that you listen to. The academic discussion task asks you to write a response in an online discussion for a college class. So you have to write two completely different types of responses in a limited amount of time. How do you do that? Use a template. What is a template? A template gives you sentence starters that include great vocabulary and that help you organize your answer. If you memorize a template before you take the TOEFL, you don't have to think about how to start. You can simply start writing. That's awesome because the TOEFL is stressful. You don't have much time. You need the time you have to think about the arguments you want to use. You don't have time to think about how to start your sentences. A template solves this problem. It saves you time and it ensures that you use a large vocabulary, and this will boost your score. That's why I love using templates. You can find templates for all the TOEFL writing tasks in my TOEFL materials. Just click on the link in the description. We will move on to tip number 2, know the test. It's really important what to expect on the test. As I said, TOEFL writing includes two tasks. It takes 30 minutes. If you have never seen the test before, the two types of questions may be very surprising. You have 20 minutes for task 1, which is also called the integrated task. You have to read an essay, listen to a lecture, then summarize the information. You then have 10 minutes for the academic discussion task, which is task 2. That's a totally different type of writing because you must give your opinion on a topic rather than just summarize. More important, the structure is totally different since you are asked to add an entry to an online chat discussion. I talk about the tasks in the TOEFL writing test in a lot more detail in my TOEFL writing course. In this course, you can find full sample answers, templates, and much more to boost your score. If you want to improve your score quickly, check it out. The link is in the description. If you know what the instructions are in TOEFL writing, you won't waste precious time reading them. You will be prepared to write using two different styles to really show off your language skills. Therefore, the best way to ensure a good score is to take several practice tests so you are completely comfortable with what you will find on the actual test. Tip number 3 is follow instructions. Okay, this may sound obvious, but I want to stress how important it is to do exactly what the prompt tells you to do. Here's what I mean. In task 1, you need to summarize information from both a lecture and a reading passage. You need to briefly explain what the two sources say. You can't focus on only one part. Plus, some students include their own opinion on the topic. The essay may sound good, but it doesn't follow the instructions. You are not asked to add an opinion in task 1. By contrast, in task 2, you need to add to the discussion with your own viewpoint. You need to add new information regarding the topic. That's very different from summarizing what other people say. If you just focus on the idea of I agree with Sally's opinion, you will not get a full score. You must add a completely new reason why you agree with her. It has to be something that is not in the task prompt. Also, note that you have to write at least 100 words for task 2. That means more than 100 words. If you write less, you didn't follow the instructions. That's a really sad reason to lose points, so make sure you follow the instructions. Let's check out tip number 4, connect ideas clearly. This is another really important point. Even if you have the best ideas in the world, they don't make sense if you don't show how they are related. You must connect the ideas using linking words. Linking words and phrases are crucial to forming a good response. For example, however shows that the following idea contrasts with what you have already said. Second shows that you are introducing a new point. You don't have to worry about thinking of good linking words if you use a template though. The template structures your response with awesome words and phrases to connect all the ideas well. That's another great reason to use a template. Tip number 5 is paraphrase. Paraphrasing means explaining an idea in different words. It's a really useful tool to make writing more interesting to read. However, there is a more important reason to paraphrase in the TOEFL writing section. You should paraphrase the question prompt so that the examiner knows that you understand the question. Otherwise, it may look like you're just copying what you see. Plus, paraphrasing words and ideas really shows off your vocabulary. Let me give you an example so you know what I mean. Let's say that the topic is space research. Now, space research is a good phrase and you can use it. However, you can change it using different words or grammatical structures. Studying outer space or understanding the universe give similar ideas, don't they? However, they sound different. You show that you know what space and research refer to because you can define them with other words that have similar meanings. Definitely paraphrase when you have the chance, but don't worry about paraphrasing every single word in the response. It really is okay to use the same words several times if there is not a logical substitute. Let's have a look at tip number 6. Use awesome grammar. As you can guess, using the correct grammar is important for getting a high TOEFL writing score. What you may not know is that sentences that are really complex do not necessarily get you a better score. Now, you may think, Juva, you're crazy. You need to show off your grammar skills. That's true. However, if you make a long sentence that is confusing or has mistakes, you will get a lower score than if you use a simple sentence that is correct and conveys your intended meaning. Instead of trying to make every sentence long, use a variety of sentence structures. Use both short and long sentences. Write strong sentences using grammar you are comfortable with. Now that I've said that, I would like to point out that you can also boost your score by using a complex structure correctly. Therefore, I like to review a few structures so that I know them really well. For example, I like to use if clauses in sentences to show off my ability to write about possibilities that may not happen. You may focus on different forms, such as relative clauses or different verb tenses. In other words, practice a few complex sentence structures well, so you can write a grammatically correct response with confidence. Let's go on with tip number 7. Include a definition of the topic in task 1. In task 1, lots of students start right into a comparison of the points given in the reading and the lecture. They forget to write a definition. If you read an essay like this, you have no idea what the student is talking about at first. Therefore, always include a brief introduction with the topic and a definition or description of what that topic is. By the way, my template includes an introduction with a place for the topic and description. Using a template makes sure that you don't run into this problem. Tip number 8 is acknowledge the views of others in task 2. I have 2 points for task 2. The first is to acknowledge the views of the other speakers in the questions online chat. What I mean is to use a phrase like, I agree with Sally's views because, or Sally brings up a good point, but I think that. Task 2 is about polite interaction with others in a written online forum, and so it's important to demonstrate that you respect other people, even if you disagree with their views. My TOEFL writing template for Task 2 includes awesome sentence starters to politely refer to the other viewpoints. This will make it a lot easier for you to include the views of others in your answer and to use great vocabulary that boosts your score. Let's check out tip number 9. Give clear and short examples in Task 2. My second point for Task 2 is to use short and clear examples. Some students get very involved in the details of the example and they write way too much. The reader has no idea of the point they are trying to make. Let's say I'm writing about space research. I could say, in my biology class last month, a student asked about life in outer space. She had seen a television show and wondered if there is any research related to life on other planets. The teacher said that some of the rovers on Mars are now looking for things like water. In fact, they have found water in the form of ice, and that they are looking because water is necessary for life as we know it. That's a lot of words, and I bet you were wondering what the point was, right? I really suggest making examples only 1 or 2 sentences. The one I just gave can be turned into: some rovers on Mars are searching for compounds like water that are necessary for life as we know it. In fact, scientists have even found water in the form of ice. By the way, the example doesn't have to be true. You can make up a point as long as it's reasonable. That's because Task 2 is scored on your ability to create an argument, not on the specific details you know about the topic. The TOEFL examiner is not interested in whether you tell the truth or not, but in how good your English is. Finally, tip number 10 is: take time to proofread. Look for words you can paraphrase and correct misspelled words. If there are lots of repeating words, see if you can substitute a pronoun. Make sure that the ideas make sense when you put them together. Check that you have written the correct number of words. This step is really important. Some people don't leave time for it. However, take time to fix a few mistakes, and you can really boost your final TOEFL writing score. That's it. That's 10 tips to score 30 out of 30 in TOEFL writing. I hope this video was helpful to you guys. If you have any questions or a video wish, comment below and I would love to see you here next time. Bye bye!